Hi guys, and welcome to my top 5 reasons why the AR9 is better than the AKV. So this is a follow-up to the video I made about the top 5 reasons why I think the AKV beats the AR9. So that video was relatively one-sided by design. I just wanted to paint the picture a little bit wider by looking at the AR9 and how that still is a better firearm than the AKV in many ways. And I just wanted to show for it here. And if you have any comments about such, please put them down below. Reason number 5. So the first reason is magazine versatility. And I mean a little bit more than just the ability to put your magazines into your non-Glock brand Glock, but more so the wide variety of Glock style magazines out there. So while the U9 magazine for the AKV, I've sung its praises a lot in the other video, it is super reliable, which none of these other magazines I think will actually compare to, and it is of appropriate size. There are times when you don't need 35 rounds and you would prefer something a little bit more manageable. There are times when you need much more than 35 rounds, so in outlaw matches, or you just feel like it. So obviously the Glock Big Sticks are going to be the most popular option of the AR9 platform. Now they do have 33 rounds, which is fantastic for most people's purposes. I think it's a little bit short for US PSA maximum shot count courses, but for that reason you have extensions to these big sticks. So this is the Taylor Freelance Goliath, and this makes the 31 round magazine, and just for clarity, this is a 31 round magazine and they come with a +2 extension from the factory. So this is 51 rounds, and you could say, do I not want to just run this all the time? Why would you use your 33 round mags or anything else? And the main reason is that actually you do give up a little bit when you use the 51 round mag. Now it's not that I'm going prone and this thing prevents the gun from getting close to the ground or anything like that. It's that this thing isn't actually as reliable as of any of the other options here. This is very picky with regards to ammo. I find that only one ammo type, which is the Fiocchi 9APB, not the 9AP, the 9APB. That's the only factory ammo that I found that actually runs cleanly in this, and everything else causes problems. So in many cases I run the Glock Big Sticks, as long as it's not a max round count stage. And then in stages that are intermediate, say up to 22 or something like that, which is the case for all IDPA matches, I really love these PMag 27 round magazines because one, 27 for IDPA is way over the maximum round count. For US PSA I'm not restricted in terms of what mags I can swap and interchange and use during the course of the day, and these things are very easy to pull the base plate off and clean, and that's very important with a blowback mechanism. There's a lot of soot that goes in here and can foul it up and cause problems. And last but not least, there is a place for these smaller pistol size mags, because with these they're much easier, or at least I have a lot more training, to actually index and pull off the belt and then do a fast reload. So I see these quite often used when you want to do a fast reload. These also have a tendency to drop free much more easily from the magwell. What tends to happen if there's more and more weight and you only needed to say 5 or 6 rounds but you had the full stick in there, is that if you've got just a little bit of an angle with more weight on this thing, it's just sort of getting more and more hung up on the edge of the magwell, and it's possible for this to hang up in a way that these do not. Reason number 4. So the next reason is recoil. Now I've already sung the praises of recoil on the AKV, so you might be asking, what am I getting at here? So while the AKV is relatively heavy for its size, it's heavier than my rifle setup, and the bolt system is heavy, it means that in general it provides a very smooth, very buttery feel. However, if you want to tune it to be, say, reduce the amount of cycle time, reduce the amount of dot jump, you don't have any more options. There aren't any ways currently to modify the recoil system here. There aren't many aftermarket options. They're starting to come. I think TACCOM has something on the way, but the reality is right now your only option is how it works out of the box, which is going to be fine for 90% of people, but if you're looking to achieve something very specific, it's probably not going to be right for you. It certainly, for example, isn't a platform where you can simulate, say, your big brother AK and it feels the same. It doesn't feel anything like an AK recoil. The AR9 recoil system, while not as tunable as the AR15 where you also have a gas system that you can also play around with, the recoil system here with the amount of mass that's easily tunable with the different buffer systems, as well as certain techniques to try and soften the impact of those buffers, so sort of like spring-loaded buffer systems like the MBX or the TACCOM 3G buffer system. TACCOM also now have a magnetic delayed blowback system, which is really interesting. I got to see more reviews of that. It's way too expensive to actually see whether or not it's true, but it does look like it's trying to do what most competition shooters want, and that is to reduce the amount of mass in total so that the entire cycle time is quicker, and then reduce the dot jump without completely destroying your trigger at the same time. You can also tune it for reliability like I have, so I'm using effectively an extra heavy setup, so 8-ounce buffer with the weight still in the bolt carrier group. And this just allows me to run relatively hot ammo, something more appropriate if you're shooting something like +P home defense ammo. You're probably going to want a more heavy setup, and the ones from Palmetto State Armory ship with a 5.6-ounce buffer, which is already much heavier than the H3 buffer system that most people are using in the AR9. So in general, it's pretty reliable out of the box, but you can tune it in any direction you see fit. Reason number 3. So the next reason is the manual of arms. So the fact that the AR9 shares so many components with the AR15 and effectively shares the exact same manual of arms as the AR15, except for perhaps the forward assist is absent on many of these AR9s, and it's probably not something you should be practicing to do on your AR15 anyway. The fact that you have full interchangeability means that if you have a base of skills coming from the AR15, the AR9 is an easy choice to get into and be proficient with. And even if you're sort of looking to get further into AR15, the AR9 might be a way to improve the amount of range access that you have, or just reduce the ammo cost of training for an AR platform. In terms of recoil, as I've said, this is very tunable, meaning it can actually feel more than an appropriately set up 223. I know my Ruger MPR doesn't have as much recoil as this thing does. So sharing manual of arms of the AR15 isn't in of itself an objective advantage. It's sort of an optional choice whether or not you think that having a shared manual of arms is good. But there are things that are definitely improvements in terms of manual arms from an objectives perspective. So in terms of the mag release, on the AR you just push the button over here and boom, the mag will fall out. On the AKV there is only a paddle option here, meaning if you're doing a reload on an AR in general, you just hit the button and in the meantime you're already going for that magazine. On the AKV you have to come down, strip the mag out and then go for it. So it's not a huge difference, not a deal breaker, but the AKV is definitely slower in terms of reload for that reason. This could potentially be modified if there was a way for someone to provide a shoe or something like this so that you can use your finger to be able to do the ejection. I believe the CZ Scorpion basically has such a thing. Also, because of the last round bolt hold open, there's a hinge here where there's this ledge right there, if you can see it, where the magazines actually do tend to get hung up. There's no such interference inside of the AR9 magwell. The other objective improvement is the position of the safety being engaged with the thumb. It means that you can come off the safety very quickly. So the AKV actually does come with an enhanced safety, so you can actually use your index finger to take it off safe. But it does mean you have to do this weird drop it down, then get onto the trigger, which is relatively slower compared to the AR9. Not a deal breaker, but it is slower. Reason number 2. So the next reason is ergonomics. So with the customizability of this thing and the fact that you can use an M4 tube, it just means there's a lot of options available on the market for buttstock, hand, charging handle, basically everything that you interact with your hands. There is something out there for that, right down to things like magazine catchers and having extended ones that come out through the trigger guard and things like that. There's plenty of options out there to suit every single little quibble that you may have with regards to ergonomics. And just in general, you can build these things relatively lightweight, and in general, even in a rifle setup like this, it's not that heavy. And the ergonomics doesn't just extend to the things that you touch, it also extends to how you can set up the optics. So if so much rail space, the amount of accessory room and optics room that you have is extreme, and the number of cheek weld options that you have is also very high, meaning you can have as much height over bore as little as you really want. In my case, I'm running a 510C with an offset optic to help with leans when you're going around a corner. And one thing that's relatively unique that I cannot do on the AKV is having a relatively high optic mount here in terms of height over bore. Now this is, the center line of this is around about the same as, say, the open sights, iron sights as a standard. But putting the Crimson Trace CMR 206 on the front here and being able to put it on top of the barrel instead of underneath means that when I look at something, if there's a dot on it, I know I need to do an appropriate holdover, and I don't have this weird situation where I have to do, if it's a red dot, I'm doing a holdover. If it's a green dot, I'm doing a hold under. In general, I just put about 1 to 2 inches of holdover, no matter what the target is, at the appropriate distance, and I'm getting my shots on target. Reason number 1. So the top reason that I think the AR9 is better is that Franken AR9 is best AR9. And what I mean to say by that is that from tip to butt, every single component on the AR9, although not technically mil-spec in the same way that AR15 is, there are so many different manufacturers who specialize in each part, and there's so many options for every single part. So whether your purpose is home defense or competition or something in between, so like a range toy or something like that, or a simulator for your larger AR15, there are ways to build out your AR9 for your purpose. While the AKV is a strong firearm out of the gate, out of the box, for many different purposes, it is not perfect in every single category, and you might want something perfect for the job, and the AR9 is likely to deliver that and on budget. So you can go down from a build as cheap as $600 from PSA, which is what this is mostly, right up to multi-$1,000 builds like the new Noveski. So you can go from all different types of muzzle devices, obviously barrel lengths, including if you like the long handguard and long profile in general, the longer barrel length but don't like the weight. TACCOM make a 5-inch barrel that has a welded 16-inch shroud on it, so it's still technically a rifle barrel but doesn't have any of the weight of a rifle barrel. There's certain barrels that have feed ramps that make it easy to feed jacketed hollow points if you're looking at some home defense stuff. The tuning system, there's a numerous number of ways to tune this. To triggers, most triggers that are compatible with AR15 are compatible with AR9, with the minor caveat that you really need to look out for the ones that are known to be durable in an AR9. But in general, every single component on this is hot swappable, and that means it's the best rifle for your purpose as long as you want to shoot 9mm. So those are my top 5. If you have any comments or responses, please put them down below. There's a lot of reasons to love or hate these things, and you may disagree on the points that I've made. Please keep in mind that I'm looking at this mostly from a competition space, and maybe you have some slightly different reasons that are more valuable to. And for that reason, maybe you think the AKV is a lot better. So please see that video. So please like, comment, and subscribe. I do have follow-up videos to these, something more in-depth, as well as a lot of shooting competition videos in general. Thanks again. Bye-bye.